Okay, so now we are moving to next lab, which is lab number 9B. In this case, this is a lab which is implementing Azure Container Instances. As usual, I've logged into my lab environment first. I'm going to log into the Azure portal now, and we will use the lab user credentials inside that. Now, for your kind of information, guys, containerization and Docker containerization is something which is a very important concept for you as an administrator. And when you are learning Azure containerization, you should be having some basic knowledge of Docker containerization also with that. If you want a separate video on Docker containerization, you can feel free to put a comment on this particular video and we will create a separate video for that. As of now, in this particular one, we will just see that how easily we can create an independent container instance on the Azure cloud. So let's get started with that. I'm going to click on next, and this is a very short and sweet lab which is going to be done in less than 15 minutes actually. In this case, what we are going to do is we are going to create one container instance which is basically going to be created based on some particular image. Image is going to be some kind of a package, and using that package you are able to create a container. Now you can see right now the task one is we are going to deploy Azure Container Instance using a Docker image. So right now we are taking an image from a Docker, which is going to be a public image available on hub.docker.com. And if you want to keep the image private, you can have a service which is called Azure Container Registry. You can keep it inside that also. In the task number 2, we are just going to test and verify the deployment of Azure Container Instance. So basically this is a very simple hello world kind of a lab. Containerization is a lot more than this actually, but yes, it's a good point to start with this. So let's get started. Inside a portal.azure.com, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to search for container instances. Remember, container instances are going to allow you to create a container on the Azure cloud without configuring or without worrying about underlying infrastructure. When you create a container instance, basically it's going to ask you that where is your image and what kind of a compute configuration you want to provide with this. In my case, I'm going to choose my subscription, my resource group. The container name, we are going to provide the default one which they have given here. East US is perfectly fine. In the image source, we are going to choose that we are going to take an image from a quick start images. As I told you, you can pick it from Azure Container Registry, which is a better or much more secure way compared to quick start images or any other public images kind of a thing. But in our case, we are going to use quick start images in which we can choose a specific image associated with this. You can see even the default image which is coming here, which is a hello world kind of a image which is available inside this. If you want to try any of the other hello world images, you can try that thing. Otherwise, you can actually create your own image. You can put it into Azure Container Registry, and then you can choose that registry from the drop down. Basically, this is going to be what you're going to do in your real-time projects. As of now, because we are administrators, we are not focusing much on this. We will talk about this in depth in the separate containerization kind of videos. If you want more videos on this, please comment out or please reach out to us on any of the platform and we will create a separate videos on containerization in depth. As of now, I'm just choosing this hello world kind of a containerized image here. If I want, I can change the size configuration. Remember, whatever number of CPUs, memory and the GPU, if you want, you can configure inside the container instance. Now, these values are based on the region, operating system type and networking options which are available as per the configuration available on Azure. In my case, I'm not changing anything here. I'm going to click on next, which is going to take me to networking part. In the networking part also, we have to provide some kind of a unique DNS name here. Now, because my container name was AZ-104C1, I'm just putting that name, and at the end of this, I'm going to put my name. So that is going to be globally unique. In the below section is asking me in the DNS label name scope, what kind of a tenant you want to associate with that. I'm okay with this default configuration. I do not want to change it. And by default, it's going to be working on port 80 with the TCP protocol. This all looks fine. We'll move forward to next tab, which is monitoring. Now, in this monitoring, they are by default enabling the container instance log. I do not want that, so I'm just going to untick that. And then I'm going to click on next, which is going to take me to advanced. Remember, for certain containers, you have to provide multiple environment variables. And based on those environment variables, if you want to make those environment variables secure, you have to say it yes, and automatically that environment variables will be converted into secrets. This configuration is going to be required in most of the secure containers when you deploy them. As of now, this is hello world, so we don't need that also. Also, there is a separate configuration where you can actually do the key management by Microsoft Managed Keys or maybe customer managed keys if you want to integrate and keep it with your key vault. And by managing full control of the keys in your hand, you can actually configure this part. I'm not doing that right now, so we are just going to click on review plus create, and very soon my container instance is going to start deployment. This provisioning of this container instance is going to be running on the Docker engine in the background. So remember one thing, the Docker engine is that particular part which is making sure that your container is going to be running successfully on Azure Cloud. Hey guys, sorry for interruption. My name is Maruti and I'm here to make a very important announcement. I hope you are liking our videos and you're doing a continuous learning with us on an Azure Cloud and AI related topics. If you are enjoying this thing, I'm going to announce SkillTech.club, which is our upcoming website, which is going to be launched very soon. We are here to tell you one thing, that everyone who is a subscriber of this particular channel will get Azure Cloud and Azure AI related certification courses free of cost in SkillTech.club. So you will be a part of the SkillTech.club kind of a membership automatically free of cost. And everyone who's a subscriber of this particular channel will get those benefits which are available in that. So what are you waiting for? I request you to please subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends and families if they are also interested in Azure Cloud and AI learning. That's it from my side. Now you can carry on with your learning. Thank you. Right now, the deployment is going to take 2 to 3 minutes, but in this particular time, it's actually going to set up your Docker engine with the Linux operating system, and on top of that, it's actually going to run this hello world kind of a container instance. Containerization is one of the fastest way to deploy your application, and that's one of the biggest plus point, because of which most of the time instead of code-based deployment we go for containerized deployment. Let's wait for some time, and once this is done, we'll test and verify the deployment of container instance is successfully done or not. Yes, my deployment is successfully completed. Let me click on go to resource. You can see that right now it's showing me that my container instance is running successfully. If I want to check this is working fine or not, I can have two options. I can go to fqdoin, which is fully qualified domain name associated with this, or I can use a public IP which is associated with this. As of now, I'm going to use my fqdn and I'm going to open that in the separate tab of my browser. When I do this, it's going to hit that URL, it's going to configure the DNS configuration with that, and basically it's going to show me welcome to Azure Container Instance. This is a very simple hello world kind of an image based container, so it's just going to show you this kind of a welcome to Azure Container Instance. It's nothing much. Also, you can check on one thing, that when your container instance is running, you can go into the settings, you can go into the containers, and this is a place where you are able to see which image you have associated with your container. Also, you can check the starting time, the previous state of that, as well as you can check the properties and logs which are associated with this container. These things are going to help you a lot when you are going to deep dive into containers, and if you want to check whether the container background, the port number, the IP configuration, or the event logs are going fine with that or not. As of now, we are not going to do more things inside this. You can see that we are able to see the logs, and these logs are actually showing me the get operations with the HTTP 1.1, which is working fine. So basically, that's what we have done inside this particular browser website. Whenever we are going to deal with this container, it's basically going to make sure that this container is going to be up and running and is going to be serving the request of each and every user associations with that. That's it for this lab. I'm going to see you tomorrow in the next lab, which is going to be 9C. This is still lab number 9, and this is the second part of the lab, so we are going to move forward to the next one. Thank you.